everyone, welcome back again for a third time to NobodyKarens. I am Karen, if you haven't figured that out yet, and I really appreciate you guys being here, and I just want you to know that I'm doing these videos not only to help myself through a hard time, but if anyone else out there is having a hard time with any medical issues or just struggling through life, just know that you are not alone. Everybody struggles, nobody is perfect, and the worst feeling is feeling alone, and don't be afraid to reach out for help. My last video we talked about, what did we talk about? Oh, I had the disappointment of having my surgery postponed, and my sugar was 600. So being that said, of course, nobody else could control my sugar but me. It wasn't my parents' fault for the food they cooked. It was simply I just had really bad eating habits, and it's hard. It's hard when you love carbs and you love sugar and you love chocolate and you love all kinds of things like that. And I had to make some changes somehow. I needed to make my food plans better, more protein and more vegetables and less carbs. So no bread, no potatoes, and I love potatoes. I love mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, french fries, all of that. So once my surgery was postponed, I definitely went into a deeper depression than what I was already in, and it took me into a dark place. I'm not afraid to say it. Suicidal thoughts, of course, came in mind. It would just be so much easier and I would be in less pain if I just wasn't here, and that's not an answer. There are other options. There are ways to rectify the situation. Most of the time before it gets better, it gets worse. And I started emotionally eating, which is something I did when I was younger too, like 8 years old, young. So I got up to my heaviest weight, which was between 180 and 190, and I'm 5'5". I'm not tall by any means. I'm pretty short. And I would eat, constantly. I had nothing else to do. I was so bored and I wasn't working, and I was stressed out. I was angry. I was just emotionally a mess. Of course, we're in November at this time, so Thanksgiving's coming up, Christmas coming up, and that's always the hardest time to get your sugar under control because there's all this candy and great food coming along the way. I switched doctors. My doctor that I had just wasn't working well with me. She didn't seem to have the sense of urgency that I needed to get my sugar under control, and I needed a doctor that was going to help me, that was going to put me on a type of either insulin or oral medication that was going to help me stabilize my sugar. And I switched doctors. I started going to my new doctor at the end of December, and then I had to switch insurances, which means new out-of-pocket costs and new deductibles and everything. And we tried to find something that was gonna work for me and that was really cheap. I was paying before, in 2015, I was paying about $130 a month for health insurance, which is pretty outrageous. And I was thankfully, my mother helped me out to find insurance that it was only $20 a month, and it covered what we needed it to cover. So I started with this new doctor, and I let him know right off the bat, these are the issues I'm having. I have kidney stones. I need to have surgery. I'm going to have multiple surgeries, and my sugar is out of control. Mind you, when I originally found out about these kidney stones, my sugars were pretty good. I was in the 130s, 150s. I had it pretty under control. It was later that it started getting worse. So I went to this doctor and he said, okay, let's try some things and see what we can do. And of course, they stopped giving me one medication because a lot of those medications filter through your kidneys and it makes it worse. And my kidney function was not at 100% by any means. I know at one point it was at a 47% kidney function. So I had to stop some medications, but I was taking one medication that was helping me. I started taking it after eating instead of during, which is not how you're supposed to take it, but it was still helping me. So I wasn't going to change the way I did anything because it was still working. And then I found out that lemons were a really good superfood for diabetics, and I love lemons. My whole family loves lemons. So I found that out, and so what I did is I started eating lots of lemons, and there were days where that was all I ate were lemons. I would eat maybe 8 lemons in a day and then really not eat anything else. So that was probably when I was really super depressed and I didn't know what else to do, and I knew I needed to lose weight. I needed to get my sugar under control, and to me that was the only thing that was gonna help. So 8 lemons a day with maybe at dinner, and I started dropping weight slowly, but it started happening. March hit and I talked to my doctor and I said, I am in a really bad place emotionally and mentally, and I need help, and I have no idea where to go. I'm new to Texas. I have now been here a year, and I just didn't know what to do anymore to get me motivated and to get me out of the house and just to get me in a state of mind where I loved myself again. And I still struggle. I still have depression. I still have anxiety. I have anxiety as I'm filming right now, just because I'm filming. But I knew that I needed something. I needed someone to help me, to tell me I'm not crazy, to tell me that, I am going through some hard things, and, this is not abnormal behavior, that, that I can get through this. So I was able to go to a facility where it's an outpatient process, and they do medicine management. They do therapy, one-on-one, and group therapy. And group therapy, I was like, really? Nobody is gonna know what I'm going through. Nobody has kidney stones. Kidney stones are rare. Not everyone's gonna have them, and it's gonna be very rare that I find someone who knows what I'm going through. And I got evaluated, and they were like, this is the program that would be best for you. And I'm not a shy person by any means. I used to be, but give me a couple minutes in a room and I'm everybody's friend. So I thought, okay, group therapy, of course I'm gonna be a little shy at first, but I can do this. Thankfully, I started on, I believe it was March 16th of 2016 at this facility, and it was one of the best things I could do. I'm so happy that I seeked help and that I was able to tell my doctor, I need someone kind of side by side with me, and I was so lucky to find such a great therapist. I have an amazing therapist. Sometimes she calls just to check on me. I'm really appreciative of that. She's just an amazing person. So my depression was pretty deep. I'm not a cutter. I get unmotivated. I have no oomph. I I had no energy. Like, I felt like the stress and this damn kidney stone was sucking the life out of me. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. I didn't have the money to do anything, and money was tight because my parents were helping me, and that didn't make my situation any better. I was dependent on my parents, and that's hard when you are now, 32 years old. And you see your friends and family members who are successful and living life and having fun, and it's hard. It's really hard. You wonder why couldn't I be them? Why can't I be in their shoes? Why can't I be, out having fun and living life? And I just want to be successful in life, and I want to be able to take care of myself. And I was in no condition for that. So that was in March. I started their program where I went 3 days a week to group therapy, and once a week I would see my therapist, and then once a week I would also see a doctor that they had at their facility for my medicine management, so to make sure that my antidepressants are right, my anxiety medicine is correct, and that I'm doing okay. As this time is going by, I'm still losing weight. I ate maybe once or twice a day. I was still eating lemons, and I remember one of the therapists in the group part of it was like, Karen, lemons are not a meal, so you need to make sure you're eating. Even when you don't feel like you need to eat, because that is going to give me the energy. I also ended up taking B12 shots, which hurt, by the way, and you have to get them in the butt. Well, at least at my doctor's office, you have to get them in the butt. And when you're 32 years old, you really don't want to bend over so someone can give you a shot. I've gotten so many shots in the last year, it's ridiculous. So I got B12 shots. I found out I was anemic, so basically my iron was very low, and that was also causing me to have issues with my energy. And I also, my therapist mentioned seeing an endocrinologist, and I was like, what? An endo what? And she said, yeah, they help you with your sugar, with your hormone levels and everything. And I was like, how come nobody told me this before? How come I wasn't told that there was a doctor out there that can help you with your sugar, that specializes in this? Of course there's doctors out there, and I knew that, but no one had mentioned that to me, none of my doctors. So I talked to my regular doctor, my primary care physician, and he goes, yeah, I have an endocrinologist we can send you to, because we need to get this under control. You need to have these surgeries. So I was like, finally, I'm getting somewhere. And I was so mad, because I was like, really? No one was going to tell me about this? So I got to see an endocrinologist. They said, insulin is going to be the way to go. It doesn't have to be a permanent thing, but for right now, you need something that's going to work fast and, get you to surgery. So I continue to go through group, and I found that group therapy is actually really helpful. And even though, you're in a group where not everyone's going through the same thing as you, we're all struggling, and we all feel alone. And it's just helpful to have someone there that can hear you, that can hear your story, and that can just be like, I bet that's hard. That was just the way of life when I would go 3 times a week. Then I started going, and that was in the morning. Then I started going to the night ones, because they were switching up some things at the facility. And I felt like things were not progressing the way I wanted it to. And I felt like everybody around me in group was getting better, at least for their situation, and I felt like I was getting worse. I had lost by that time probably between 30 and 40 pounds, so I went to between 180 and 190 to between 150 160. And it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. I'm having a really hard time with everything, and beginning of May I get some news on my sugar, because this is now my life. Surgery, kidney stones, getting better, controlling my sugar is what I live for. And depression is kicking in, and it's not easy to deal with. So on my next video you will see, so make sure you stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my channel, please. And I will see you on the next video. Bye.